I just passed FTMO again, and I am now officially managing 400K in prop firm capital. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I passed, how I have felt this year achieving this amount of funding from January until now. And I'm also going to break down exactly how I did it, showcasing the trade and strategy that I used to pass it. I'm also going to talk about the best risk management practices that you can put in place to achieve the same goal. So whether you're trying to scale up with FTMO or any other prop firm, it doesn't matter. This video is going to be a banger. So I'm pretty pumped about this one. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while since I've been funded with FTMO, and yeah, I'm just very, very fired up about it. So right off the bat, I want to give you a little rundown on this year. So I have now passed 4 100K challenges this year. So I've passed the challenge verification 4 separate times just to show how consistent I have been trading this year, and it feels really, really good. You know, it feels really, really good. I'm very proud of the progress that I've had this year because a lot of people in the comment section haven't been having the best year. And I understand with the Trump stuff, I've just been super, super selective, only taking A+ setups. Now, when I went into this year, I had a goal. Okay, I had a goal and a vision for what I wanted to achieve. And I also made a post back in December, I think it was, talking about how I was going to remove myself from social media. I was going to get rid of Instagram, get rid of Twitter, get rid of all of the distractions just so I can zone in and focus in on what matters, and that's my trading. Since then, from January until now, until May, like I said, I've achieved 400K in prop firm capital, which is a big milestone for myself. This used to be like the end all be all goal for me. And it's crazy because I didn't even realize that I hit 400K until like a day later when I added it up, because I'm so focused on my personal capital now that these prop firms are just a complete bonus to me now. But it's still just such a grateful, I'm very, very grateful that I was able to achieve, such a milestone. And it doesn't stop there. I actually have just, with the same trade that I'm going to show you later on in the video, passed another phase 1 with FTMO, and I am up about 5% on a 200K FTMO as well. That'll be an additional couple $100,000 in prop firm capital as well, which is just such a blessing. So how was I feeling throughout this whole process? I honestly felt really, really good. There wasn't any moments in time where I was struggling. There wasn't any moments in time where I was stressed out. I actually attached the prop firm accounts to my personal day trading account. And what I would do is when I would execute on that day trading account on my personal account, it would, execute it on the other challenges. I literally didn't even realize the progress of the accounts until recently because I just focused on my main account. And as a result, the challenges just, got brought up. So this journey wasn't an overnight journey. This took years and years of consistent practice. This took years and years of getting my butt kicked. It took years and years of trial and error and figuring out what works and what doesn't. I've talked about in many videos before how important journaling is. Journaling is so important. I went through a losing streak back in November. It was actually a pretty big losing streak. I lost 6 trades in a row and it sucked, right? But the reason I was able to pull myself out of that losing streak and then go on a massive winning streak is because I was able to go back and look at my journal. If I wasn't journaling, I wouldn't be here right now talking about this milestone that I've achieved this year. And it's not just journaling. You have to make sure you're also reviewing your journal. I made a post yesterday, which I can pop up here, just pretty much talking about how much focus is needed to get to where you want to be in this journey. That extra little bit of focus. And for me, what it was just honing in on trading and removing Instagram, removing the other social media platforms, and just focusing in on that. That was enough for me to just lock in and just achieve great results this year. Pretty much in the post, for anyone who didn't want to read it, I was just saying that, sometimes your goals just need a little bit more focus to reach that next level, a little bit more than you're giving it right now. And honestly, diluted focus, diluted results. Okay, that's the biggest takeaway that I have from this past year is if you were trying to focus on a bunch of different things at once, the thing you want the most isn't getting the max amount of focus that you could be putting into it. As a result, you're not going to get the best results that you could be getting. So a lot of you guys are probably wondering, Mac, what risks did you use on this challenge? Okay, so how I go about prop firm challenges is I like to risk 2% per trade. Okay, I like to risk 2% per trade. That way you either pass it sooner or you fail it sooner. I also like how it allows you to be more selective. When I risk 1% or anything less than 1%, I find I'm a little bit more lenient with the setups that I take. But because this is attached to my personal account, it had to be A++. It had to be A++. So these challenges took a couple months for me to pass, but that's because I was very, very selective with my setups, and I had a great period. I had a little bit of losses in a row. Then I went on an amazing period. And yeah, just because it was linked to my personal, I was able to execute and capitalize on the best A+ setups possible. So 2% risk per trade, in my opinion, is great for challenges. Now, let me rephrase this for a second. It also depends on your financial situation. So just hold on for a second. If you are someone where that challenge fee is a lot of money to you and you can't afford to lose that money, then what I would recommend is doing this conservative approach, but then using the offense approach once you get to this certain criteria, okay? So what I mean by that is when you are at break even or above, okay, you then risk whatever you're above extra, okay? So let's say for example, you start out with 1% risk. Say you win and you get to 2% plus on the account, then you risk 2% per trade to then reach your total. It'll allow you to get there faster in fewer trades, okay? Now say you lose a trade and you go back down below break even. That is when you can bump the risk down to 0.5. That way you can manage your tail end there when you're below break even, and you can capitalize with the house money when you were above. In my opinion, this is the best way to tackle prop firm challenges, the absolute best way. And then of course, if you want to do it the way I did it, just 2% risk the whole time. But I find if you're risking 1% the whole time, it's going to take a lot of time. And trust me, I've done a lot of challenges in the past. My best way of passing was when I am in profit, I'm using 2%. It is insane how much faster you get to that total. One thing I also wanted to add is my trade selection is very, very important to me. So I only take, 1 to 2 trades a week max. Sometimes I don't even take a single trade. That's because I am so selective with the setups that I like to take. So it's not like I'm risking 2% and day trading every single day. No. You're opening yourself up to a lot of risk. I'm still probably opening myself up to less risk than a lot of people, because if I'm only taking 1 or 2 trades a week max day trading, that's only 4% risk for that week. Whereas if you're risking 1% per day and you're taking 1 or 2 trades a day, you're looking at, 10% or 5% plus per week in risk. So for anyone who doesn't know, I am 300K in funding with Think Capital, and then now I have just added the 100K. I wanted to add that in there. But the trade I took was on NASDAQ. It was a beautiful short that I took after we swept this liquidity pool that I was waiting for. Now, liquidity pool, you probably don't know what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on the charts right now and quickly break down the trade in a couple minutes there, just fast and right to the point so you understand, and then we can jump back to here. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for meeting me over here on the charts, okay? So I'm going to try and keep this as short and sweet as possible, just showing you the strategy that I use, okay? So right off the bat, guys, we had a set of equal highs over here on NASDAQ. So I was actually waiting for this trade pretty much all week. And I actually took a couple long opportunities last week up into this area, hoping to catch the long, but it didn't happen. So I ended up longing over here, right? I ended up closing that over here because of market close. Then I ended up longing over here, taking a small profit here before the weekend. Price ended up running all the way up into my area. Okay, so then once we made it up into this area, the cool thing about this trade is I actually took this on the side of the road. I ended up pulling over when I got my alert and executing on this trade. So great stuff. We had these equal highs, and you can see London session pushed to the upside here. We had Asia session over here. And what I'm waiting for is a break above here and then a shift to the downside. Okay, so if I just go out and play this out, you can see that we get that nice push to the upside here at 9:30. So tricking a bunch of people into the market here to go long. And then we had a nice bearish engulfing right here. So I ended up on the side of the road. Keep in mind, I ended up market executing right here with my stop just at this high. And I was looking to target this imbalance down here. Okay. Now I didn't need a massive target RR wise to pass my challenge. Okay. So sorry, to pass my challenge and pass my phase 2. Okay. So we go ahead and play this out. And you can see that the market starts to chill for a bit. We come up extremely corrective here, right? We're coming very, very corrective, which is a really, really good sign if you want to see shorts, right? So if we look on the 5-minute time frame here, you can see what I'm talking about. We have the strong move. We're coming up extremely corrective into the area. So I ended up market executing right here in this 5-minute imbalance. If I just mark this out like this, we can drag this over here. This is entry number 1. And then entry number 2, I ended up market executing over here. I can pop up the trades here so you can see where exactly I got in. But then I had the same target down here. Now, because I scaled into the position, I didn't need as much risk reward again because my pass was only, what it needed to be on both. So once we came down all the way down into here, you can see we start to sell off very nicely. I ended up getting out of this trade for the pass. So this was beautiful because we had the original entry over here on the side of the road. And then this trade over here was when I was actually sitting looking at this just after one of my live calls. We ended up hitting take profit. So that was absolutely beautiful. If I just quickly go to the 50-minute time frame here, you can see Trump ended up tweeting some stuff and we ripped all the way back up. So yeah, that is the trade that passed my FTMO phase 1 and phase 2. So what's next? What are my goals next? Well, of course, I want to try and max out FTMO. That's why I have 400K in FTMO challenges going right now. Well, I guess technically 300K in FTMO challenges. I want to max them out for you guys. But I'll also document in the next coming videos when I do get that. I will keep you guys posted, show you the payout process and stuff like that, and just how smoothly it goes. So yeah, that is how you get 400K in funding with FTMO and other prop firms. And I'm just super grateful. I hope you guys took advantage of what I shared today. And I hope it inspired some of you, because if I can do it, you can too. Now, what do I say at the end of every single video? Let's be 1% better every single day.